There's a very pressing issue affecting a variety of Destiny 2 activities right now, and if it isn't addressed by Bungie soon, based on trends from the last 3 seasons, it will only continue to spread and worsen. From raids to seasonal content, any activity that is high in enemy density is prone to this game-breaking problem. So how does it work? From our current understanding, based on Bungie's descriptions, Destiny 2 exists as a hybrid model between peer-to-peer and peer-to-client networking in order to host its activities and transfer information between player instances. As evidence of this system in action, many Destiny 2 players have likely played activities where the true host, having a poor connection, might have resulted in a heavily desynced instance. For example, enemies may respawn after being killed, doors may remain unloaded for extended periods of time, and checkpoints may not progress when they are supposed to. One of the things that this system is responsible for is the handling of drops, and more specifically, the processing of rewards given to players for killing enemies in the form of Glimmer, player XP, crafted weapon XP, materials, and other similar resources. And here's where the problem arises. In what seems to be an attempt to maintain parity between players, aka the true host and members of the fireteam, and the server, the game will not allow certain objectives to properly progress until it has finished processing through all of these rewards, often at what seems to be a bottlenecked rate. This has led to a variety of consequences, some of which have been meaningless, while others have been game-breaking, which leads us to the title of this video. As early as the launch of the Witch Queen DLC, members of the community began to notice certain flags in Wellspring being unusable for extended periods of time after being placed, as well as certain activity rewards being given out at a delayed rate long after the mission complete banner appeared on the player's screen. While most brush this off as nothing, seemingly including Bungie, this would only be a sign of things to come. As Season of the Risen progressed, players began to notice the Rally Lockout bug in other activities, notably Dares of Eternity as well as the Vault of Glass raid, after its Confluxes encounter had completed. Around the same time, after the Shirochiu encounter was completed in the Last Wish raid, players began to notice the portal leading to the Ascendant Realm, Bridge to Morgeth, wouldn't spawn for upwards of 30 seconds in some instances. The following season, the bug continued to spread. After completing the exhibition encounter in the Vow of the Disciple raid, when players arrived at Rolk's arena, his cocoon wouldn't be present until the rewards from the previous encounters had been processed, meaning that the Rolk encounter could not be started. At the same time, a worrying symptom began to appear in the Vault of Glass raid. If players killed enemies quickly enough during the Confluxes encounter, not only would they not be able to rally and receive rewards on time afterwards, but some of them began receiving error code Anteater, forcing them back to orbit. Occasionally, this reward buildup would impact an instance so drastically that it would boot the entire fire team to orbit mid-encounter. That leads us to this season, Season of Plunder. As of the making of this video, the bug has spread to all 6 currently playable raids, and it continues to plague Wellspring, Dares of Eternity, and the newly released Ketchcrash seasonal activity. While for some activities it is possible to wait out the lockout on flags and simply rally later, the main concern is that the issues we are currently seeing are merely what is visible at the surface of a much bigger problem. What lies ahead is a dreadful possibility. Today, it is more than likely that any experienced fireteam attempting to complete the Shirochi encounter in Last Wish or the exhibition encounter in Vow of the Disciple will be error-coded and kicked to orbit, as evidenced by plenty of the raiding community's recent experiences. Given that this bug is worsening every season, with its reach spreading to more and more activities while it boots more and more fireteams to orbit, it should be very obvious what the ramifications of letting such a bug go unchecked will be. I'm trying to get out ahead of the problem before this becomes not just a game-breaking bug, but a widespread game-breaking bug, one that will impact every player no matter what sort of activity they complete in any span of time. To assist in this effort, I will try to describe everything the community has tried in order to fix this problem, even temporarily. Changing TrueHost. Changing TrueHost has varying degrees of mitigation, and it's not even close to a complete fix, but it has worked to some extent, and it does prove that this issue is semi-network based. Removing reward-enhancing ghost mods like XP and Glimmer mods did nothing. Clearing the game data cache, which is something that Bungie suggests on their error code guitar page, does nothing. Playing at different times made lockouts on rally flags slightly better if servers were less active, but that also wasn't a complete fix. Playing with different fireteam members, aka different people from different regions in the world, or different players in general, changed the probability of getting error codes in some raids, but again, not a complete fix. Some players went so far as to kill fewer enemies so that less rewards would be dropped from said enemies during an encounter. And while this did make lockouts significantly better in some instances, not killing enemies in a shooter game is a ridiculous fix to a problem that should not exist in the first place. And finally, a recent suggestion that we tried was changing physical proximity to killed enemies, which didn't seem to have a major impact on lockouts whatsoever. Based on what has been tested so far, it is clear that the issue is somewhat connection-based, but how much I can say beyond that is dubious. And so it is here where I turn to the game developer Bungie for help. We have tried everything. I made a forum post, but it went unanswered. If Bungie is aware of how bad this bug is and is actively trying to fix it, I'm grateful and encourage them in their efforts. If not, I hope this video has made them aware, because I believe genuinely that this bug has the potential to ruin a lot of players' experiences as the game's population grows and more activities are added to the game. If you think I've made a strong case explaining why this bug is game breaking, I implore you to share this with others so that it can get some attention. Thank you for listening.